Those Days with the Monsters, Part 49. Kirrel held his breath as the ship glided into the derelict's docking bay. It looked as abandoned as ever, but he knew that wasn't a good way to tell. Would he find any humans left after whatever Sleepy had done? Would the ship be covered in tizzics? Or empty? The door of the fissure opened with a hiss. Kirrel's frill was stained entirely yellow with anxiety as it slid to the side. All the air seemed to leave him in a rush as he saw Sleepy standing in front of the door, and others of the crew gathered behind him. They didn't seem to be injured. "Hey, spaceman. Had a good flight?"
I think so.
Kirrel wasn't quite sure what to think of that trip, but it hadn't been bad, so wasn't that good?
Is anyone hurt?
Nah, everything's fine on our end. Were you worried, spaceman?
Well, maybe a little. The captain said you'd be fine, but I wasn't sure.
At a certain point, it shouldn't matter if the humans were Death World creatures. There was a limit to strength, right? But the station didn't seem to have been swarmed. "What's the situation, Sleepy?" the captain asked, moving past Kirrel and out of the ship. "Well, I don't know if you'll think this is good news or bad news, Cap. But we looked and looked. We didn't find a thing. There were a few odd packets sent out, but Dopey ran them through every descrambler he's got. They came out gibberish on the other end. Looks like noise from some of the scrap you brought in before. Dopey found the transmitters and Grumpy fried them, but those wouldn't help him get to us faster anyway." Sleepy sighed. He looked tired. Kirrel wondered how long he must have worked in order to make that kind of a face. "So we got 3 options. 1, they've gotten better at predicting us. 2, they've gotten better tech to catch up with us. Or 3, we missed something." The captain nodded. "I don't like any of those, but I guess it's what we got. Better than having nothing anyway. Think those packets would be a problem?" Sleepy glanced at Dopey. "You want to weigh in on this, Dopey?" "I'm not Dopey, and they weren't descramblers." Having said this with a strong tone of indignation, Dopey sighed. "I don't think there will be an issue. They didn't have any new information, and they went out in normal space, which means they've got quite a distance to go at before they hit anything that could detect them. But I can't be sure." The captain nodded quietly. "I know, just like we can't be sure on our end. How's Aladdin's lamp coming along?" "It's not." Grumpy sounded very, very tired. "Doesn't matter what we try, it can't take the stress. The shear forces from jump are too high." He groaned, while Tinker patted his shoulder awkwardly. "It would be one thing if it couldn't take proximity to a star. That's not the issue. The issue is opening the thing. It gets ripped apart every time we try a test run." The captain sighed. "I was hoping for some kind of good news. What's the damage when it goes up?" "Well, there's a brief snarl and some cracking, but it doesn't seem to break anything permanently. Approach would have been a lot riskier if it had. The tangle's short-lived, but it completely destroys the prototype, of course." The captain nodded, then took a deep breath. "Grumpy, I'd like to change focus. Instead of a lamp, let's find out the MSD when we try to connect it. If we can't throw the sun at them, let's throw a hole in space instead." Kirrel didn't understand what the captain was talking about, much less what the lamp was meant to be, but Grumpy's tired expression had completely disappeared with the captain's words. The look on his face was... The best description Kirrel could come up with was a combination of hungry and insane. He remembered this expression from early on, when the captain had announced the Cuman's information robbery. What was Grumpy about to do? Then again, Kirrel wasn't sure he wanted to know. The last time a Cuman had had that look, they'd robbed a military hospital of classified information.
"Captain, what's Aladdin's lamp?"
"It's, well, right now it's not really anything. We're still working on it."
"But you don't need more weapons."
"Maybe not, but they're nice to have. Plus, I always did like a big gun." Happy, somewhere in the group of the Cuman crew, made a strangled Cuman amusement noise and started coughing violently. Kirrel's frills flared, pulsing bright red. "You okay, Happy?" the captain asked, arriving quickly and smacking him on the back a few times. "Bad time for a drink. Damn you, Cap." Happy had some kind of bottle in his hand that smelled like some kind of bright fruit, along with a whiff of whatever Sleepy liked to drink. "Wasting good lemonade. That ain't lemonade anymore, buddy." Happy bared his teeth. "Go back far enough and the rum used to be sugar. Still lemonade. Yeah, and go back far enough and we'd all be children. What's your point?" Happy dipped his head slightly. "Fine, spiked lemonade. How much is lemonade and how much is spike?" "Not enough to make me drunk on company time." Happy bared his teeth, but his tone sounded almost insulted. "Not dumb enough to get drunk in a war, Cap." "As long as that stays true." The captain's face was sober. "There's still a long haul ahead. We don't need our munitions guy falling off the edge in the late game." "I know," Happy scowled, taking a quick sip of his drink. "Never take this up with Sleepy, do you? Trust me any less?" The captain sighed. "With alcohol? Maybe." Kirrel couldn't follow that very well, but he was immediately distracted by Dopey moving up the ramp to the ship and shooing Kirrel out the door. Bashful's blue hologram flickered to life, and the door slid closed behind Kirrel. Did you give him time off, Cap?" Happy asked, taking another sip of his drink. The captain shook his head, but Sleepy interrupted. That was me, I guess. I told Dopey you could have some time if we got through everything before you got back. Yeah, you didn't need the ship for anything urgent, did you?" The captain sighed. "Not immediately, no. Just, I hope they left the alarm system on, just in case." Read by a good bean.